None that I know here in South Florida, but
This will be a leader. There's no question about that.
It's kind of interesting too, Mike, that a lot of the talking heads have been talking about the fact that it's really time to buy the miners as opposed to the actual metal.
and you guys have been talking about that for months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I've noticed that with the talking heads, and I'm thinking, gee, what was the first time that Mike and Charles mentioned that? It had to be almost a year ago.
All you need for the miners, really,
None that I know here in South Florida,
is
but
stability.
This will be a leader.
And
Right.
it's erratic.
No question about that.
It's been of late. But the fact of the matter is, it's found this new 12 to 1375, 1380 area. And there are a lot of miners who are very profitable with a stable price of over $1,200.
sure.
I mean, you see it up 25 or down 25 on the basis of geopolitical stuff. But, it's been down for a couple of days, and yet it's still $12.97.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well,
So,
and
the stability of it definitely lends to buying the miners.
you know what I thought was interesting?
And frankly, you got to buy a couple of them.
Uh-huh.
I mean, X-Men is fine, and HL.
Well, has been one of your favorites.
Right, HL, who we've had on the show a couple of times. You just need to be involved in a cross-section of these because regardless of the metal, an individual mining company can have a problem like the Hecla
Like
did.
they did. Yes.
You have floods and you have, I mean, there's 100 different little things, but, again, you use a kind of a balanced portfolio or an ETF of, 6 or 8 miners together. It makes a lot more sense.
That's very intriguing. Yeah, that you say that because we're all of a sudden starting to hear a lot of talk about that. What I wanted to ask you before our guest gets here is what about the oil stocks? I mean, you look at where both the crude and the oil are on a downward slide, not very bad, but still down a bit. But natural gas is up, that's intriguing. It's like, okay.
But it's still at a low level.
Oh, yeah.
And we are encouraging imports. The Kurdistan send a ship here almost every month with $100 million worth of oil. And it's parked right outside of Houston Harbor.
I didn't know that.
They won't let it in.
Oh, they will eventually get in. I mean,
Yeah, of course it will.
All the oil has to be tested, and but we're encouraging their production and trying to help them militarily as well, as you know.
Well, now wait a minute. Back up here. So the ship has been there, and
It was one that comes in every 6 weeks.
okay, but then they're not letting it into the harbor.
Oh yes. Well, they're letting the product. What happens? It's so big a ship that they send little oil tankers out to pick up the oil and bring it back in.
Oh, it's that big. Wow.
And there's a political issue with it because in the area there's so much disarray that the question arose about whether or not they legally have the right to get the money from it because it's in a disputed area.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
Just send them a damn.
And Greg, the other thing about natural gas,
Yeah.
part of the issue is that natural gas is not used primarily for heat. I mean, obviously that's a big component. But natural gas is also used for utility.
Oh, you bet.
And so if you have, well, it's not happening up here because it's like the fall here already. I mean, I can't remember the last day I saw over 80 degrees. But the fact of the matter is they use a lot of natural gas to create electricity. So when you find an area of the country, and frankly, this is not that area because we use a lot of heating oil, but for air conditioning, the big draws on power are very often the issue of where the natural gas goes to generate that power.
Sure.
So it's kind of counterintuitive. You would think people use it all winter for heat, then they use it all summer for air conditioning. You really expect it to be higher than 380.
Well, now, realistically, aren't you folks up in the Northeast eventually going to make that transition to natural gas?
I sure hope so.
From heating oil?
But I have to tell you, it's not available on my street.
Really?
I've said this before. Yeah, I can't stand cooking with an electric stove, and there's no gas available. I mean, I could get a big propane tank and put it in the backyard.
Yeah, but that's not good. Yeah.
Because when you're in these big epithermal,
And an on-demand library with
they were pulling out drill holes that are 55 feet of 1 ounce. And there's an intersection there of 4.9 ounces over 1.3 meters. One hole into it in mineralization stopped. Nobody followed up. So there's lots of free gold in the system. There's been an adit put in there. There's been a bulk sample done with 96% recoveries on the gold. It was done at Trail at Czech Kaminko's facility. They were taking a cat and removing ore from surface over an ounce coarse gold and running it through the mill. The property is definitely something major is going on there. But for a decade now it's been quiet. So when we stepped in, what we did was we put together a think tank about what we'd like to.
Welcome, Rachel Levine from Cleveland Biolabs.
Good morning.
Hey, Rachel.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing?
We are.
Yeah, the penny stocks are doing much better. August, which is flat for the big market, has been excellent for penny stocks. And I think Cleveland Biolabs is just at the right spot here to be bought. And, Rachel can bring us up to date.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What is happening at Cleveland Biolabs? What's new?
Sure. Well, we just released our second quarter earnings and gave some operational updates across the business. So we're working on quite a few things. I think one of the most exciting, more recent developments is a meeting we had with the FDA with regard to our biodefense drug to counteract lethal radiation exposure. This drug is called entolimod. It's a proprietary drug, very exciting, very novel. Nothing like this has ever been kind of created before. And it has shown immense efficacy in animal studies with non-human primates, mice, and other species. And it's been tested for safety in healthy human volunteers as well, because it's going through a unique FDA large. They've been very cooperative.
Amazing. Wow. That's a. I just have a quick question for you too.
Sure.
This division that you're working with in the FDA, is it the same division with both the nuclear product and the cancer product?
It is not, in fact.
Okay. Well, I was curious.
The product, they have many different divisions in FDA, and workloads are divided for a variety of reasons. And I'm certainly not the position to be able to speak to that. But we're working with two different divisions.
Okay.
There is a division that's dedicated more to biologics, and that's where, I'm sorry, not just biologics, but to more oncology and other therapeutics.
From Cleveland Biolabs. Boy, she is absolutely amazing. Michael and Charles.
Yeah, really, no question about it. the best I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she is.
Really, and this stock is a tremendous buy right now. It's just poised to go through its 13-day moving average. And it looks like it's made a bottom, and it has what we call a possible Gann four-legged bottom here, and it would be appropriate to bottom at this time.
Wow, that sounds great. Do you have any legal clarification there with
On my
Cleveland?
Rule 17B,
Yes.
we're paid $2,500 to represent them for the 2 months to Ryan.
There you go. All right. Well, Michael, Charles, you have a great week, and we'll be talking with you next week. Don't forget the newsletter. Just go to PrincetonResearch.com, sign up, get it every week. Charles has been absolutely